Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of The Awesome with Cody. As usual, I'm your host, Cody, and today we are continuing our theme of awesome new horror movies. So last week, we talked about the new Candyman movie. This week, we're talking about The Nighthouse. So The Nighthouse is a psychological horror film, as some would state it. The interesting thing about this this little bit or this movie, so it was one of those ones that got pushed back the pandemic. It had premiere last year in January of 2020, January 24th, 2020 at the Sundance Film Festival, and then I'm pretty sure it probably got picked up there by Searchlight Pictures, and then it was released in theaters just recently, August 20th of 2021. So then the rest of us could actually watch it if we weren't at the Sundance Film Festival. So yeah, so that's kind of the history of the release of it. So this movie, like I said, psychological horror film, directed by David Bruckner. David Bruckner. I didn't know too much about him. Until I looked him up, obviously. Then I realized he actually has done a few things. He co-wrote and co-directed The Signal in 2007. If y'all haven't seen that movie, it's pretty cool. And it's one of those anthology. It's not an anthology movie. VHS is an anthology. He also did a featurette in VHS. So The Signal is a horror movie, and it's directed by him. Well, actually, I have to say, by him, Dan Bush, and Jacob Gentry. And I'm going to go on a little of a tangent here. Actually, I'm just going to explain what it is. So it's 3 interconnected chapters, or transmissions, that are, that see characters go in and out of them and intertwine, interconnected with that. And there's, the one he did is transmission number 1 called Crazy in Love. Then Jacob Gentry did, transmission number 2 called The Jealousy Monster. And then transmission 3 was directed by Dan Bush, which is called Tomorrow in Terminus, or Escape from Terminus. Tomorrow in Terminus. I'm looking at the wrong one. Escape from Terminus. So yeah, check that out. It's pretty cool. It's I don't know where you could watch it right now. You can probably get it digitally somewhere nowadays, because it came out, like I said, 2007. So yeah, and then like I said, David also did the one of the features in the first VHS, which again is an anthology series called Amateur Night, which he co-wrote and directed that particular one way back in 2012. And then he's done a couple other things. One of my favorite ones, which is the reason I was excited about this particular movie, is called The Ritual, which I know you can watch. I believe it's still on Netflix, but I might be incorrect about that, so take it with a grain of salt if you can, but look for it. It's a pretty cool movie. I actually like that movie a lot. My cousin actually told me about that movie to check that out, so definitely check that one out. He directed that one. He also directed, produced, wrote, and edited a segment in Southbound, which is an anthology horror film that was released in 2016. So he did that as well. VHS, and then The Signal, and something called The Talk Show, which is a short film that he did as well. I've never seen. I probably could look it up, but I didn't. But yeah, that's David Bruckner, a very cool director. Really good with suspense stuff and horror stuff for sure. But yeah, so check those out if you want. So next up, I'm going to go over the cast real quick. One of these names I'm going to butcher the shit out of because I don't know how to say it, but par for course with the Awesome Cody because I don't know how to read names. So first up, starring in the main role of the movie, playing Beth, is Rebecca Hall. Rebecca Hall, for me, will always and forever be from The Prestige, opposite Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. One of the many early movies that many people forget that was directed by Christopher Nolan and written by him and his brother Jonathan, who, of course, if you don't know, is in charge of Westworld on the HBOs, and his wife, Joy, Lisa Joy, Jonathan Nolan's wife, is a director of her own right, and she just did another picture, which I enjoyed a lot, which is also available on HBO Max right now, called Reminiscence, I believe is how you say it. Has Hugh Jackman in it. Really good movie. Check that out too. But yeah, so that's like a whole big family thing going through. But Lisa Joy did that one. She is married to Jonathan Nolan, who's the brother of Christopher Nolan, who directed The Prestige, which Rebecca Hall was in. So that's how I connected those ones together. She has done a lot of different things. She was in The Town, which is an amazing movie. She was obviously, like I said, is in The Prestige. She's in a movie called Starter for 10 with James McAvoy. Extremely good movie, too, if you haven't seen that one. It's a really good movie by everybody in it. James McAvoy is amazing in it. Rebecca Hall is really good in it as well. Of course, most people know Rebecca from her stint in the Marvel MC Universe, where she played Maya Hansen, who is in Iron Man 3. She was the person that went back to help, or asked Tony Stark for some help, and it ended up being kind of like I don't want to say a trap, but like she was working with some bad people to try to trick Tony and things like that. So that's that in there too. But she's been in a lot of different things. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the highlights would definitely be The Town, which is phenomenal. The Prestige, which is phenomenal as well. Of course, Iron Man 3 is really good too. More recent stuff, if you want to check out some of her more recent movies. She has three movies that came out this year alone, along with The Nighthouse. There's Passing, which she was the director and producer and writer on. I have not seen it yet. It came out earlier in the year, I believe. Then she was in Godzilla vs. Kong, and then Within, which is another one, which I think is in post-production. It's slated to come out this year, but I don't know much about it, other than the fact it's a American and anthological drama. I don't know what the hell that actually means. But yeah, anyways. And then she's only been acting since 2000 seriously acting since 2006. Her very first couple of roles, she was a TV role in Young Sophie in a show called the Chamomile Lawn. I don't know what that is. 4 episodes of that. An episode of something called The World of Peter Rabbit and Friends, where she did a voice of Lucy. And then she was in a TV movie called Don't Leave Me This Way, which I'm guessing is probably an English movie of some sort. But then she got a Starter for 10 and The Prestige, both in 2006, which definitely helped her career, because she's been working steadily ever since, and she's real good in pretty much everything I've seen her in. She's been in other stuff too, but you can look it up and see what she's been in. But it's Rebecca Hall. Next up, we have Sarah Goldberg playing Claire, the best friend and confidant, I guess you could say, to Beth in this movie. I didn't know too much about. She looked familiar, but I didn't know why. And then I looked at her credits, and I still don't really know why. She's been in a lot of things. Not a lot of things. She's been in a handful of things. The most notable thing that I saw on here was The Dark Knight Rises, but her character's name was Analyst Number 1, so I'm not too sure that's a role you could define her as being recognizable from. But yeah, that's what it is. And she was in The Report, which is the one with Adam Driver and a ton of other people. Tim Blake Nelson was in that. Corey Stahl was in it. There was another big name. Annette Bening. Anyways, so that was that one. And I couldn't tell you if I remember her in that movie or not. I saw that movie 2019, so 2 years ago, and I don't remember. I remember the movie. I just don't remember if I could recognize. Oh, she was this person. But she was named April in that movie, so that doesn't really help me much, because whatever. But yeah, that's Sarah Goldberg. Next up, we have Stacey Martin. Hold on, Stacey. I gotta go to my notes again. Stacey Martin. Stacey Martin plays Madeline. So I'll go more into it. I'm not going to go through the details of the movie. I'll tell you my thoughts on the movie, and that'll basically be it. But she plays the pseudo mistress, I guess you could say, in this one. Another young lady whose acting career is very short. She started acting in 2013 with Nymphomaniac, the mini episodes on. I think there's 4 parts to that on Netflix. I could be wrong. Is there 2 parts? How many parts of this thing were there? Volumes 1 and 2, but they were broken into different areas. Anyways, there's Nymphomaniac Part 1 and Part 2, I guess is what it really was. I thought there was more parts to it. But anyways, that's a film, I guess, art film, whatever. I don't know. I haven't watched it. I just know she's in it because it's in her one of her credits. Then, I mean, I looked through her list of career highlights. To me, there's not a whole lot that stand out. The Nighthouse is definitely one of them, but she's getting a lot more work. 2020, including The Nighthouse, she was in 4 different films. One of them was a voice of a character in something called Archive. She was in The Nighthouse, the Evening Hour, Archive, and Lovers all last year. This year, we all got to see her in The Nighthouse, but she also has The Serpent and The Electrical Life of Louis Wan, which I believe is just had a trailer drop. It has Benedict Cumberbatch in it. I think that's the one, if I remember correctly. And then something called Halo of Stars, which comes out to be announced or whatever. It's in post-production probably next year sometimes. And then TV-wise, not TV-wise, but that's literally it. So yeah, I don't know her from too much of stuff. And she, in here, one of the bigger ones would be a movie called Highrise, which has Tom Hiddleston in it, as well as Jeremy Irons, Sienna Miller, Luke Evans, and Elizabeth Moss. Good movie. Again, I don't know if I could pinpoint her and go, oh yeah, that's her. That's where I seen her from. And she did not look very recognizable when I saw the film, so I didn't go, oh yeah, her. Unlike this next gentleman, whose last name I'm going to butcher, but the gentleman plays Owen in the movie. His name's Evan. Sorry if anybody knows him, or if Evan's listening. I am so sorry for what's about to happen to your last name. But it's Jonigkent. That's probably completely wrong. But anyhow, he's an American actor. He is best known for, he took over the role of Toad. Or I can't even say took over the role, because it's a prequel in a way, but also a sequel. Anyways, he was in X-Men Days of Future Past. He played Toad, which previously was played by Ray Parks in the Bryan Singer movies. Or movie. He died in the first one. He might have not died. He might have just got slightly electrocuted by lightning striking a metal rail that his tongue was wrapped around that shot up his body and shot him into not the Potomac River, that's the ocean, right where the Statue of Liberty's at, if you've ever seen X-Men, the first movie. And then he was in Bone Tomahawk. He played the deputy in that one. And then he apparently was in played Captain Chesterfield and on Discovery Canada's Frontier, whatever the hell that is. But yeah, that's him. I'm not going to butcher his last name. It's Evan, played Owen in this movie. There's some other stuff I recognize in here, but again, I don't think I could recognize him I mean, he looked familiar, but I wasn't able to pinpoint what he was in at all. So that's bad on me. And last but not least, all 5 of our cast members are now done because I talk about Vandy Curtis Hall, who plays Mel. So Vandy Curtis Hall is a American actor. He is a writer, director, screenwriter, all that fun stuff. Most people who I would assume listen to this here podcast might know him as Ben Urich from the Marvel's Daredevil show. I can't talk, apparently. On the Netflix, he was in the first season, main cast, and of course he was spoiler alert from a show from 7 years ago. He was murdered. And then he was so he's in that. He's also in Chicago Hope. He's been in a ton of movies. Coming to America. If you remember Coming to America, the very first movie, with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. When Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall's characters go to the basketball game, he's there walking to the bathrooms, and a gentleman who's a vendor there stops him because he recognizes him as the Prince of Zamunda and bows down to him. That's actually Vandy Curtis Hall in that role, so that's pretty cool. One of my favorite movies. He was also in Die Hard 2. He played Miller, which, again, you may not remember because it's a one-name name and you don't know. And basically, a basketball game vendor is his character from Coming to America. So if you're wondering, oh, C.O.D.Y, who's his character's name in Coming to America? Well, that's what it was. It was basketball game vendor. So, that's cool. Like I said, he's done a lot of different things, a lot of really good movies. He is very recognizable. Not so much. I didn't know it was him in Coming to America until I was looking up his credits and I saw, oh, Coming to America, I like that movie. I know exactly what role that is because I've seen that movie like 150 times. But he's been in a lot of different things. TV show wise, he's been in a ton of TV shows, a lot of TV movies. His longest stint on television would probably be, let's see. He's also directed a bunch of stuff too, including an episode of Firefly, which is pretty cool. I think, well, he was listed as main cast in Daredevil and was listening to main cast in For the People. But other than that, 6 episodes of Soul Food, 7 episodes of ER, 6 episodes of I'll Fly Away, and then that's about it. And then, of course, which is weird that this is the movie that, like, when you look him up, like, who he's in, but the movie Gridlocked, which a lot of people, I mean, it's a cult, apparently a cult movie. He directed it. He's also, I wouldn't say starring it, but he does have a role in it. It's his directorial debut, but it had Tupac Shakur in it, Tim Roth, Lucy Liu, and Thandie Newton were all in that movie. So it's a cult hit. I've seen it. I just don't remember too much about it. But yeah, Gridlocked. So check that out if you want to see something with Tupac Shakur opposite Tim Roth in it. Tim Roth, of course, most famously playing the role of can't think of his real name right now, but he's Abomination in the Edward Norton Hulk movie, and I believe he's credited as doing the voice for it in Shang-Chi, the new one, but I don't know if that's true or not. I just saw a little thing about it, so whatever. I don't know if that's true, but whatever. Anyhow, so what this movie is about. So this movie is, as I read in one article, an allegory for depression. Yes, it is. So the whole premise of this movie, which I did not know going into it, but I'm going to say this to you, and it's not a spoiler. It's just something that happens. You start the movie off with Beth, and she is coming home from a funeral. You find out it's for her husband, who has passed away. Then you find out a little bit later that he shot himself on the lake outside or down the hill or down the shore from their house in their rowboat, and left a very cryptic message that doesn't really get solved to the end. And there's a cool, interesting twist they did in it that made it really fun, or really cool way. The biggest thing about this movie is the suspense is pretty ridiculous. There's a bunch of really good jump scares, not cheesy jump scares, but like environmental jump scares. But there's some visuals in this movie that's pretty dope. And when you get to them, you will be like, oh yeah, that was pretty dope, Cody. And I'll be like, I told you it was. But yeah, that's about it. I don't want to spoil too much of it because there's a really cool, like I said, a really cool twist and thing in it. Going from there, it's a really powerful movie. There's some really good moments in it, some pretty spectacular cinematography shots in it, some really cool visuals, like I said, and it's just a good time, and you should check it out. It's in movie theaters now. I think it's only in movie theaters now. I don't think it's on any streaming services just yet. Actually, you might no, because I did look it up. It is not available anywhere I saw. For right now, it could be later on down the road here soon. But yeah, check it out. Like I said, it hit theaters in this year in August. It was originally supposed to be released in July, but it got pushed back. But yeah, that's it for this episode of The Awesome with Cody. I have been your host, Cody. Tune in next week when I talk about Malignant. And I'll apologize ahead of time. I will be on the road traveling again. So if it sounds bad, I'm using new equipment. So don't hate me. And I'm going to try to get it fixed or narrowed down before then. But we'll find out if that happens or not. So tune in next week when I may have atrocious audio. We'll find out. But anyways, we talk about Malignant, the new James Wan horror movie that comes out next week, or this week as of recording, the 10th, which is this Friday, available in theaters as well as on HBO Max. Again, not a sponsor, but if you want to check it out that way, it's a pretty cool way. But also looks pretty dope. So tune in next week, everybody. And as usual, like I say at the end of every podcast, let's be awesome.